Hey guys, BeSnappy here. This video is going to be big, and I'm talking 747 big. This aircraft right here has flown the equivalent to the moon and back 110 times. And to run us through this video, we've got Doug Haywood here. He's flown both the 747 and an A380. How are you, Doug?
I'm good. Pleased to meet you.
So Doug, before we look inside, can you tell us a bit about these awesome engines?
So these are 747 Rolls-Royce engines.
Yeah.
There's four of them, but obviously.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things is it can actually carry 5 engines. There's a special pod that can mount that engine on that pylon and take it and actually fly the engine. No, they don't use it for power, but they just use it to carry.
Now we're going to go have a look at the cockpit. Oh wow, I'm just surrounded by buttons.
Basically, you're in the captain's seat now, and he's assisted by his first officer, and the seats back here are for either chick captains or for second officers. So you put your left hand on your left hand, so you fly with one hand, and these are the thrust levers that control the power of the engines. So your right hand will go over here, and that's how you fly the aircraft. These are reverse thrust levers. So when you're coming in to land, you bring the power back to idle to touch down, and then you reach forward over here and pull this up. And the engines are in reverse thrust. It doesn't mean the reverse, it just means the airflow is deflected forwards. The flaps are here, positions are here. We take off usually with flaps 20 or 10, and then we always land with flaps 30. This is your speed brakes here. And these would come back. When we land the airplane, we put them so they're ready to go. And as soon as you touch down, they pop up automatically. Also, when you're coming on descent, if you're getting high on your approach path or your descent path, and you want to go down a bit steeper, you pull your speed brakes out. Flaps provide lift and drag, mainly lift, whereas these is pure drag.
So after takeoff, how do you actually pull the wheels up?
Well, the first thing, let's say that you're the captain and you're flying the aircraft. So I would call V1 and then rotate up to about 12 degrees nose up. So the co-pilot then reaches over here, he pulls that lever down and up like that, and that pulls all the wheels up. All 18 wheels.
So how do you become from being a co-pilot into a captain?
It depends on the seniority system. It varies between 5 to 10 years. You can from a second officer to a first officer, and then you do a course of training, and you actually fly the aircraft as co-pilot. And then to be a captain, you have to wait another 5 to 10 years, and then you go to be a captain. And I was very lucky in Qantas because I was the fastest to command in the 747 ever.
Really?
6.5 years from joining the company to being a captain. In fact, when I joined Qantas in 1984, it was the only airline in the world that was all 747.
So being a 747 captain, you would know heaps of runways and airports. Which one would be the hardest to land at?
That's a very good question, actually. The old Hong Kong airport was fantastic to fly into. It had, because of the way the airport was, it was situated, if you like that, and there's a big hill here, and you had to come down the slope and then turn at the last 700 feet, turn and line up with the runway and land. And you had to be specially checked out to fly into Hong Kong airport. You couldn't just fly in there as an ordinary captain. You had to have Hong Kong as in your logbook.
Really?
And I used to check out the pilots landing into Hong Kong. These are your fire switches, if you like. So if there's an engine fire, you pull the handle and then you turn it, and it puts a fire extinguisher into the engine.
Could this plane land itself if you really needed it to?
It certainly could, yeah. You see the little tiller here in your corner? Put your left hand on that. So that controls the nose wheel. When you're up here taxiing around, if you want to, when you're cleared for taxi, then you put a bit of power on and then back to idle, and then you turn the tiller that way to go left, right to go back. So to take off the airplane, and I use this tiller steer the nose wheel to keep it on the center line, but only up till about 80 knots, and I start to use rudder, and then at 80 knots I take my hand off this and on the control column, and then I steer the aircraft with the rudder to keep it straight until the co-pilot calls V1 rotate, and then I pull pull the control column back.
That was a masterclass in how to fly a 747. This is when they had remote controls to control the screen. See this tight little passageway going up here? The cabin crew used to have their own little rooms up here that they used to be able to sleep in. But that was a little secret you didn't know about. You flew the A380 and 747. Which one was nicer to fly?
Well, I can't tell a lie. The 747 is my best baby. There's too much computerization in the A380.
There we go, 747 wins the vote. Here's a sleeping configuration in business class from about 10 to 15 years ago. You can also get a look inside this cockpit at HARS Aviation Museum. The website's on the screen right now. Thanks, Doug, that was an amazing tour.
It was my pleasure.
Hit like, subscribe, and click this video right here.